Good morning, it is Linda Fussell here on Sunday the 19th of April, which is day 27, but I'm actually going to be talking about days 25 and 26 of our lockdown here in the UK. And the overriding message for these last 2 days for me has been connections. And I've been saying all the time, try and connect with people, reach out, get in touch, make contact, just engage. Have those conversations and use this time to really connect and feel that energy. Even though we're far apart physically, we actually have the ability to be close together. So I've done it. I've had just an amazing couple of days, but yesterday afternoon I actually only set it up on Friday, a WhatsApp group with all my first cousins that are in the UK and South Africa, because we're in the same time zone. And then we also added on one lass who's in the US. But I've got cousins sorry, I've got cousins in Canada and quite a lot in Australia as well. So we did the Southern African and the UK ones, and one of the families in that group has one person in America, so we included her as well, which was fabulous. So set that up on Friday, and that was interesting because I am connected obviously with all my cousins on Facebook. I don't go into Facebook very often anymore. Well, I'm not there as much as I probably could be, because there's just so much stuff on and I've got other things I'm trying to focus on. And when I wanted to set up a WhatsApp group, first of all I tried to set up a Facebook group, and that was just failing in every dismal, I don't know what was going on there. So I gave that up, set up a WhatsApp group, realised I didn't have details to connect people into that. So I set up with who I could, and then one of my other cousins, Sue, got involved and shared other people's details so that we could set that up. But the purpose was to have a family presentation from my dad. My dad is big into his family history, and it's really lovely. We have a very interesting family history, and he's put together a presentation for his local U3A family history group. I think I talked about doing the trial run for this. Anyway, he did his presentation to, I want to say not quite all my first cousins who were in South Africa, Zim, and the UK, and then the one in America. There was one family that didn't join for whatever reason, and one aunt who didn't join. I'm not sure. I don't think she's technical enough, but we need to sort that out. But what was interesting is that most of them have used Zoom before. Some of them are not that confident on it. Some of them weren't sure that they were able to stay for longer than 40 minutes with their accounts, and that was really interesting, because just touching on that very briefly, when you set up a Zoom account, a free account gives you 40 minutes, or you can pay to have more. Well, I have a paid account because obviously I use it for my business. I've been using it for the last, 5-6 years. It's a fantastic tool. I absolutely love it. It really makes life so good. But when you're hosting, you have whatever your package gives you. So it doesn't matter if you have an account and you have a free account. You can still join meetings that are much longer. They're not relevant. Anyway, so that was fine. Set up the call, had everybody joining, and then my dad, who we'd done the trial run with, his computer, I don't know, something was going on there. Fortunately, we are in the same space. So I'd set up in here, and he was on their side, him and my mum, and there was a problem, and he was obviously the presenter, so that wasn't any good at all. So I left this one run across over there, got the cleaning wipes, moved them out the way, went upstairs, got onto their computer, ended up having to reboot their computer. Anyway, got it all sorted eventually. It took ages, and it was really infuriating, because we had practiced this. On, I think it was on Thursday. It might have been Thursday or Friday. Anyway, we did a trial run. It was on Thursday, and then everything just didn't work. But that's just the way it goes. He did a great presentation. It was lovely. It was nice for all the family to connect. We didn't spend long enough afterwards, but now we've got the group, we're going to set that up and do more. So that was just fantastic. And I was looking back on it. There are some of my cousins in there who I haven't seen for 40 plus years, probably 45 plus years. That's just terrible. We might chat on Facebook, but we'll sort of interact on each other's posts, but there's not been any real connection, and that's shocking. And as one cousin said in the WhatsApp group, it takes a pandemic like this for us to get together, which is just on the one hand is really sad that we have taken this long. On the other hand, it's really beautiful that we now have done this, and we're going to extend this to include the Antipodeans and the Canadian crowd as well, because it would just be lovely to be together. Just to give you a short background, my family on my dad's side, these are all on my dad's side, my mum's an only child, so on my dad's side he had 5 siblings, and I've forgotten the numbers now, but I've got nigh on 20 cousins, first cousins, and of course most of them are married and most of them have children, and so there's an awful lot of us now. But when we were younger, my dad's family, his mum and dad, they just had a house that just accommodated everybody. I don't know, it just expanded, and the family all lived pretty close to each other. In fact, one of my dad's brothers lived next door to his parents, which was pretty much like I am now, I guess. And my grandmother's house had this most amazing veranda. It was the full length of the house, and I don't know, as a child it's difficult to remember distances, but it was probably 2.5, 3 meters wide, the full length of the house, covered, and it had the pillars, and it had a little wall in the front, and then it was quite a big drop. They had steps down, and there were flower beds and things. Beautiful. But they used to put out these tables, a whole one long table, and the kids used to sit on the wall, and the parents used to sit on the parents were down one end and we were down the other end, but we used to have these family lunches. Sunday lunch was a big thing. My grandfather was a meat eater, so there'd be a roast that he'd cook, and my grandmother was vegetarian, and in those days nobody else was vegetarian. She was the only one. She was a Quaker, and that was just part of her religion and beliefs, and she was, as far as I remember, she's always been a vegetarian. And so we always had the most amazing food, usually topped off with either and or a big trifle and various sort of steamed puddings and things. It was amazing, really amazing food. And in those days you had to eat everything on your plate, and you had to eat what you were given and all those good things. But the flower bed behind us as kids was a fantastic place to put things that you didn't like. We used to just sort of drop them down behind the wall behind us, and then the dogs would go there and pick them up, which was great. So this was, apart from typical weddings and funerals, since my grandfather died quite young, and my grandmother, she lived to a good old age, but she obviously sold the house and eventually moved into a retirement cottage type place, which there's quite a lot of there. And I've seen various cousins at different times when I'm in the right part of the country, and I can meet up with them. That's great, but I have not seen lots of them for a long time, and I haven't been back to Zimbabwe since I went back for a wedding when Trish was 1, and so Trish will be 31 in a couple of days' time. So there you go. I haven't been back to Zimbabwe for 30 years. That's amazing. 30 years. I hadn't realised it was quite that long. There you go. So to get together with these people, I mean, some of them still live in Zim, so I just definitely would not have seen them. But it was lovely. It was just so nice. So we're going to set up more of those. So that was the family one, and my dad was so happy with it, and my aunt as well that did join. It was just so much fun. definitely something to do more of. And you know, why has it taken us something like this to do it? I guess don't worry about why, at least we're doing it. It's a real positive. And then other things, I've just had great conversations with people, lots of people. It was a friend of mine in London's 50th birthday on Friday. Yeah, happy birthday, Sue. And I haven't been down to London for a while, so, and if I have been, I haven't really stayed over and haven't seen Sue. So I haven't seen Sue for a while. And of course now with the lockdown, it was just great to catch up. But her 50th birthday was actually fun because they had connected with people as well, and they'd had a bit of a party online. Can you imagine that? But she enjoyed it and it was fun. And yesterday I did the shopping for everybody, for the family around here, and so I was connecting with the elderlies around, and so that was, you know, they're all happy when I come back with all sorts of interesting things. I go out with a shopping list and then always manage to get a few other things for them, and they mostly seem to be pleased with them. So that was good. And what else did we do on Friday? I had lots of connections on Friday. Oh, I ended the day. I love this. There's somebody I met at a networking event who I really resonated with, really connected well with. And we've now set up ending our Fridays with a call together between 4 and 5, where we just check in, how's the week been, what we've got planned, how we're doing. And it is fabulous because both of us spend all our time working and helping other people and doing things for others, and then just to have some time to check in with us is quite nice. So we did that, and straight after that I had a follow-up call with a client. Well, I had a call with a client. When I work with people, they have access to me between our sessions. That's how it works. If there's something going on, give me a call and let's just see what we can do. And one of my beautiful clients, Teresa, had messaged in the day going, something going on here. So we had a chat, and it wasn't really a session, it was more a chat. She was checking in on me, I was checking in on her, we talked about some things, we did, we covered some of the things that were related to what she was asking about, but it was another nice way to just connect. And I didn't note it down as a session. I mean, the ones in between aren't sessions, and sometimes you can move your sessions around, it's not a problem. But it was just so nice to have that check-in and chat. And that was on top of a day where I'd actually had quite a lot of clients sessions in the day, which had been good sessions. There's lots of stuff coming up for lots of people, and it's really nice to be able to work through that and process it now while we've got the time to do that, so that when we come out of this, we are in a good space. So that was my connection. And Teresa's holding me to account to get my website sorted this weekend, so thank you, Teresa, for that. Really appreciate it. Yesterday just vanished. I don't know, these days, the days and weeks are just whizzing by, and it's really important to see how we're using the time. I always feel like I've done the right thing in the moment and I'm doing all the right stuff that I should be doing, but the things for me that are important on my website, and I haven't yet got to that, and it is just frustrating. Anyway, that's today's job, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I did find yesterday, when I woke up, I was just doing a quick clean around the bathroom, and then found myself cleaning the bathroom windows, which when I start the bathroom windows invariably means I clean all the upstairs windows, and sometimes I'll go down and do the downstairs windows. And I went, whoa, stop a moment. That's a procrastination thing. I know from university days that when I've got something to do that I'm struggling to sit down and do, I will do everything else. And my rooms at uni was always the cleanest and tidiest when I had exams. What is that about? Anyway, it's something I've tried to work with over the years, and I was very conscious of it yesterday, where I was, oh yeah, I'll just clean the windows, it's really important, let's do that now. No, it's not the thing I should be doing, so I didn't do it. But the day still evaporated, still just vanished. And to be fair, today's it's in danger of doing the same thing, but it won't. I'm going to make this one happen. yeah, so I did all those things. So yeah, I got distracted. Didn't do anything on the website yesterday. Had this wonderful call with the family. Had other calls, which was great. Didn't check in with my friend Barbara, who I normally would check in, and I need to find out what's going on there, because we normally do every 2 days, and we've kind of slipped up on that. Need to follow up on that one. But then I did the shopping, and shopping itself wasn't too bad. I've decided that going later in the day I think is the better option. It's a better option from the queues point of view and being able to move around the store with less people. But it's a real pain, because it takes so long when you get back to clean. I clean everything, so I go shopping. Everything's sterilized, and you hand sanitize and do all your shopping. But then when I get home, I clean everything off before I put anything in the cupboard or before I hand it over to my parents. And then I go and get scrubbed up, literally. I mean, obviously wash my hands when I come in, but then I go and have a bath and get completely scrubbed up, head to toe. Can't stand it. Yes, OCD, it's just the way it is. Oh, I'm not really OCD, but I just don't like all this stuff. So, what happened with the shopping, apart from everything else going relatively okay, was when you don't drive cars, they don't like to start. The batteries go, not so happy about that. And so last time when I drove the little car, I think I told you that the big car wouldn't start, and the little car then didn't start, but I was able to roll it off the drive and go. So this time in the car, nothing. So roll back off the drive, and it's great, because you roll back and it sort of rolls up the road a little bit, and then you turn it, you've got enough space to get going, and then roll down the road, and it all works well. And it started last time beautifully, and it was great. This time started almost easier. I did my long route round to the local Aldi via Killinghall. Parked where I knew I could run it down the hill without getting stuck if I needed to. Did my shopping, packed the car, did all the rest. Got sanitizer on my hands, cleaned everything up. Did everything properly, like rubbed every part of my hands with the sanitizer. Really did a good job, I think. Got in the car, started, perfect. Trotted out. I did a sort of a long journey around to Colleen, who's the elderly lady I look after, to drop her things off with her. Got round to her, parked in a different place to normal, but I'd looked at different parkings. I didn't park in a parking spot, which I'm really grateful for, even though there was one there and I just didn't feel like I wanted to. Didn't park right in front of her door, which is where I did last time, but parked sort of turned around and was facing out, but again next to the curb. And obviously I can't clean her stuff to give them to her, but I pack all her stuff into her walkie trolley, and then she goes and cleans it all before she packs it away, and hopefully that's all done well, because I won't go into the block of the complex where she lives. So packed all her stuff in her trolley, get back in the car. No, this is rubbish. How can this be? So I sort of look at the situation, and I tried rolling back a little bit to start it, and that didn't work, and I was like, oh no. And you can gather, rolling back meant that there was a slight incline upwards, and once you get out of her little road, there's a very steep a long downhill with speed bumps in it. It's a steep one, and it's a bit of a rat run. So got out the car, set the steering wheel so that I would avoid cars parked on the road and everything else there, and then started pushing. Couldn't push it from the door, so I had to go behind it. Unfortunately, it's a little car. It is the little car. So I went behind it, pushed it, like get everything going. And I'll talk about doing new things, finding the strength in there. I mean, yeah, that's a good muscle, isn't it? It's not too bad. This one, yeah, that's a better one. Better with the light anyway. So sorry, you're going to be crazy sometimes. Pushed the car, got it pushed, and then it was heading towards the other curb, so I had to sort of run to the front as it's starting to roll backwards and turn the steering wheel a bit, and then run back and like stop it so it's not running backwards and push it up again. Push, push, push. And then I needed to adjust the steering wheel a bit more. By now I'm pretty tired. So run to the front, jumped in, put my foot on the brake and sat there like, have a breather. Boy, was I breathing hard. So had a breather, had a bit of a rest. And now Colleen's watching all of this. She's gone inside. She's in her pajamas and she's gone inside and she's watching through the door. And I'm like, there's nobody can help me because, you know, social distancing and you can't push a car and keep 2 meters apart. And I was like, oh, rubbish. Anyway, big deep breath. By now it wasn't really far. I don't know, distances. Don't know. Haven't really got much of an idea. But where I had got to, there's about this little road, there's probably about 8 meters where the road was more level than up, and I was about 2 or 3 meters from where that transition happened when I had my rest. So I went back, final push up those few meters, and then had to adjust the steering wheel again, and got the car onto the more level, so it was obviously running a bit easier, but it wasn't running on its own that I could jump in the car. So I had to keep pushing it, and then you get to the road, the downhill, you know, the steep road. Fortunately, there were no cars around. I was able to, at that point, push it from the door side, you know, close to the door. I was jumped in, got it going, and then realised the steering had locked. Oh man! Fortunately, I went straight. I was on an angle anyway, so I went across, and there was a road off to the side. So a whole exercise. You probably don't need to know all the details, but it was quite interesting. It was quite fun. It was quite daunting. Anyway, hit the brakes, and of course, when this car's not on, nothing, you know, none of the power steering and power braking and all the rest of it, nothing works. But the brakes do work. I was able to stop. By now, I'm facing the pavement on the other side of the road and a fence, and I'm like, shit. What do we do? Wriggle, wriggle, wriggle. Anyway, get the thing to move. Start, you know, try and start the car again. It's not starting back. Turn it on. The steering wheel's moving now. Climb the pavement. Jump off the pavement. Able to steer now, which is great. Heavily start the car. Phew. Yes. Yes. And then it was a smooth journey home, no problem. I did a slightly longer route home just to give it a bit of a run. But bottom line is, first purchase today is going to be a trickle charger for the batteries because we just can't keep them running. It is a problem. I think anybody who sells batteries after this time is going to be doing a roaring trade. So that was my adventures yesterday. It was okay. It was okay. Woke up this morning and thought, ooh, I can feel some muscles in there. That's all right, but I've done my yoga and it all feels good. So that was the new thing I learned today or yesterday, was I can push my little car, and it is only little, thank goodness, and I can do these things. I can be big and brave and strong all by myself. The thing that I think I told you last time last time I checked in was I had a leak in the roof in my bedroom. It was coming through the ceiling, water. Anyway, got up there, couldn't really see where it was. My dad had a look now because we're keeping social distancing as well, so we're keeping the 2 meters apart, so the two of us in the loft keeping our distance and doing things. Anyway, we found it, and it turns out that one of the overflow pipes from one of the tanks had come apart. How does that happen? And why was the overflow running? And anyway, don't ask all those questions. Interestingly enough, the pieces that were there weren't long enough, so that says something. It says something about the plumbing that was done previously. And the joints were quite loose, so that's probably why they came apart. And we do have starlings that nest in the one corner of the loft, actually sort of just right in the eaves, and sometimes they come into the loft, but not very often. Maybe they bumped it, don't know. Anyway, when my dad tried to put it all back together, it wasn't long enough, but he found a piece of piping in his garage, in our garage, that was just what we needed, and he was able to connect it, and it's beautifully done. More than that is that we taped it all together properly, and we fixed it so that it shouldn't come undone again, and we fixed it up so it couldn't be bumped, and we did all the good things. So job done. I mean, you know, my dad's good at doing all these handy jobs, but he's not getting any younger, and working in the loft right under the eaves, because it was it was overflow pipe that goes out, but the leak was about 2 foot in from the external wall, so you know, it was really quite tight under the eaves there. But he managed fine. He got a few scrapes and bumps and bruises, but we did it. We have the leak fixed, the ceiling has dried out, everything seems to be okay, it all looks good. And so what have you done that's made you feel good? What have you found that you could do that you didn't think you could do? And just how's the exercise going? How are you coping with doing different things and doing more things? Are you doing more things, or are you just sitting? Hopefully you're not just sitting watching Netflix. It's really not a good thing to just sit and watch TV all the time. I did watch a movie last night, so it was quite late when I'd finished up showering and everything. I kind of sat down to eat dinner about 9:45, I think, which was, I hate eating so late, but I was starving. Yeah, my stomach rumbling now. Yes, I'd had my dinner late, which meant that I didn't want to go to bed straight away, so I started watching whatever movie was on TV at the time. I don't often watch movies, so I'd watched a movie. So you can, I mean, you know, it is okay to do these things, but it is a great time to be doing exercise. I'm seeing so many people out running, out walking. In fact, yesterday morning, I've started getting a bit grumpy again. I thought, oh, is this a Saturday thing when I go shopping? But I think it was just there were so many people out, and it wasn't warm. Yesterday was freezing. It was cloudy, overcast, and cold, really cold wind. I mean, cold wind. I had a jacket on and a long top underneath that, so it was cold. But there were people out everywhere, which is lovely to see. But they were, you know, they were people, and I've got used to not seeing too many people. Yeah, so I hope you're finding time to get out, get walking, get running, cycling, whatever you do. Just get out and enjoy the springtime. We are so lucky here. This time of year is beautiful for us, and we're allowed out in the UK. In South Africa, their lockdown is they cannot leave their property. I'm not sure how they do shopping. I haven't established that. But I know in Botswana, they are also not allowed to leave their properties. They have to get a permit issued by the government to go shopping, and they're not that easy to come by. In Zimbabwe, I think they've got a similar thing where they're locked down. But the other interesting thing with South Africa versus the UK, South Africa has banned the sale of alcohol. I think I mentioned this before. So no alcohol on sale in South Africa. They're wanting to try and keep people, I guess, from getting drunk and fighting and, you know, beating each other up, etc. And forgetting that they're supposed to stay in, I guess. Whereas here in the UK, not only is alcohol on sale, but liquor stores are open. They're able to trade. They're not just food stalls that are selling. But I went into the co-op yesterday, our local co-op, to get the newspapers, and seasonal specials, alcohol. On two sides of the store, wherever there were seasonal specials, it was just alcohol stacked there. Obviously the alcohol sales are really high. I'm not sure that's such a great thing. And the other thing that I've noticed from there is all the snacks that go with alcohol are certainly, bar snacks are in great demand. Those are things that aren't there. And the other thing that I noticed when shopping, this is kind of a rambling chat, but there you go. It's a chat and it's a ramble. Hopefully if you've listened to it, you've enjoyed it. If you haven't, I'm sorry. Vegetables and fruit are either moving quickly out, or there's not that much of them, and it's probably something to do with flights, not you know, stuff not being brought in. I know I saw a thing on the TV where the rhubarb triangle in the UK is very close to us, and there was a farmer that farms rhubarb and had tons of rhubarb that they had just left to rot. They'd picked it and it was just rotting, and that frustrates the hell out of me, I'll be honest. I'd be a bit judgmental and say that's lazy, but it's just not thinking. It's just not thinking, and not thinking clearly, and not asking, and not talking, and not communicating. There are ways around everything. There are so many chefs and restaurants and places that are making all sorts of new things. The Fat Badger does Sunday lunches that are delivered. I saw people that were getting from our local William and Victoria's, which does great food. They're now delivering. There's loads of places that are doing takeout meals that you can either collect or have delivered. Somebody would have done something with that rhubarb, whether it was making, rhubarb gin or rhubarb cordial or rhubarb pies, or freezing it. There are places and people, and somebody could have done something with that. There are people here that are hungry. There are people here that can't afford to go shopping, can't afford to survive, feed themselves properly. And whilst rhubarb's not an amazing, it's a nice food, but it's quite a tart food. It's a different sort of food. It's not everyone's favourite. There are so many things that could have been done with that, and that was such a waste. And I really hope that that is not happening to other vegetables and fruit that aren't being picked. I've seen these, and this is what's annoying me with the media, television media in particular. Oh yeah, look at all this. If we don't get pickers, we're not going to be able to do this stuff. Well, there are places where you can register to work as a picker. Local people now can register to work as a picker. And things will be changing so that we can get to do these things, these occupations, and save the agricultural industry, the fruit and vegetable industry, as I think, and give us all food. I mean, food is one of the essentials. So I was frustrated with that, but amazed to see on the fruit steaks in Aldi. Grapefruits were on special. They have a Super 6 every week, and grapefruits were one of those Super 6. But there were no other citrus. There were a few packets of very small clementines, I think, but no other citrus at all. And there were some pears and one type of apple only. Now, I think those are grown locally, so that would make sense. So loads of bananas, loads and loads of bananas, and blueberries, strawberries, because it's strawberry season. Not a lot of other fruit. Lots of mushrooms, because of course they just grow indoors and be the same sort of process, I guess. Sweetheart cabbage, some salad stuff. There were some salad stuff. Tomatoes and cucumbers are on special, and sweet gems are on their specials. Potatoes are on their specials. But on the vegetables, not a lot. Peppers, potatoes, carrots were on their specials. Onions, that was it. Oh, and courgettes. You know what, we can survive with those. That's not bad. But compared to the normal variety that we're used to, there wasn't a lot of things there, and a lot of empty space on the shelves. So we're starting to notice that. I saw a couple of tweets actually, which were interesting. I saw a tweet from local guy Simon, who runs a couple of the hotels in town. When he was out doing his own personal shopping, he was also commenting on the big queues for the supermarkets and the lack of, or how quickly the fruit and vegetables were moving. Yeah, I noticed that too. And the queues outside the stores are long, and hopefully the stores are managing the people going in. I mean, I know Aldi does it really well. The co-op, oh my goodness, I've mentioned the co-op before. The local co-op is hopeless, absolutely flippin' hopeless. They, for the first time that I saw, had somebody at the door restricting entry. Good thing. First off, still nowhere to clean anything, so still no guarantee that anything you're picking up, baskets or trolleys or anything, are clean. No hand sanitizer available, nothing like that. The lady that was being the guard at the door doesn't move out the way to let you get in, so you have to walk within a metre of her to get through the door. I'm like, as I walked in, I said, where you're standing, I can't keep my 2 meters from you. And she kind of looks at me all. More than that, there was no rhyme or reason. She wasn't letting somebody in when somebody came out. She was just randomly having a look and going, yeah, okay, you can go in. which meant that everybody that was in the back of the store, you just couldn't see. Anyway, it was better than last week, but there were families in there, and that really, really annoyed me. Apparently, if you are stuck for childcare, you can go in with your kids. So if you're a single parent and you've got kids, you can go in with them, small kids. But there was a family, mum, dad, and 2 little kids that were doing their shopping, and that lady at the door, the access controller, guard, whatever you want to call her, one of the parents should have stayed outside with the kids and the other parent should have gone shopping. Since when do we need to have all of those people in there? That's just, anyway, I was like, yeah, yesterday morning I was like, and then I had the family gathering, and then the day just got better and better. Then I had the experience with the car and I was able to do it, and then I watched a movie, and then I've woken up today in a great mood and done my yoga, and the day's absolutely stunning. There's a few little white clouds. They're actually clearing up again. It was clear, and then some white clouds came across. Looks like they've mostly cleared. And now it's time to go and get some breakfast and then get on with my website, which I am excited to do. I really am. I've been desperate to do it for a long time. I've been planning it. I actually had a look. It's in this book. I planned out what my website would look like. I was looking at this the other day. And this is dated the 10th of February. And we are on the 19th of April. So the 10th of February, I planned out what my new website layout would look like. What's that about? What is that about? Anyway, it's going to happen today. It is going to happen today. The dog's not going to get her groom because this is more important. If I get this done, then I can groom her tomorrow. We will do a walk with her. It is an absolutely stunning day. I will spend some time outside. I will get my exercise, but I am going to do my website. So looking forward to chatting with you again soon. I hope you're all well. Get some exercise. Try something different. Make note of what you have done that works, what skills you've learned, and just, it's the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Looking forward to catching up again soon. Cheers for now. Hope you're well.